Somebody ought to say crash. Crash. That's the broken glass, y'all. Crash. Crash. See, that's what happened when you ask the millennials to speak. If you don't want to hear the truth, then don't invite them. Thank you, Minister Tahaka. Thank you for bringing the truth to the light. All right? We got another young lady that I actually just became acquainted with, and we asked the young people for their solutions, their version of the solutions, and so they have come up with some things, and you've heard some of them already, and now you're going to hear from another young lady. She's going to introduce herself, Tati Butler. She's going to come and tell you a little bit about herself and some of her solutions. Come on, say Ashe! Ashe!
Woo! Ashe, and good evening, brothers and sisters. Thank you so much for being here, just to hear me speak, to hear us all speak, to hear us speak for the cause. I appreciate the visitors. I appreciate the supporters as well that have come through. My name is Tatiana Butler, but I do go by Tati Butler. I work in the community as a youth counselor. I work with your children. I work with our children. I help them with their mental stability. I help them with their emotional stability. And what's going on now, what has erupted over the death and over the murder of our brother George Floyd, but has been long-standing ever since our time in this country, is really affecting our children. At this point, we really need to have actionable steps for what we want to see done. Actionable steps is what I said. I said actionable steps is what we need to work on.
Some stuff we got to do.
That's right. We need to work on something that we can see done by the end of 2020, not just when we overcome. That time is done now. It's time for us to actually have some steps. One of the steps that I think we really need to work on when it comes to community policing and the police in general, this message is not just for CPD, but it's for the police forces all across the nation, and if we're being honest, all across the world, because it's not just Black Americans that are being affected. It's all around the world, especially even in Britain and London and Africa, where you see police brutality just on us just because of who we are, as God made us. We are divine, and it's time for us to have divine steps to bring about our divine future. Yeah. One of those is for community policing. We really need to hold these police accountable for how they are restraining us. It makes no sense that a visibly armed white man who can open fire on a crowd of people can be peaceably detained, can be peaceably restrained, who can be brought in, who can even be fed Burger King. But meanwhile, our kids, we're getting shot because of suspicion, because police fear for their lives, but they're the ones armed. It doesn't make sense. The math isn't adding up. So at this point, we really need to hold them responsible for how they're restraining us, how they are arresting us, if they must arrest us at that. That's something that we can bring to our police departments. That's something that we can bring and talk to police captains about. What is the method by which our cops are detaining us and restraining us? We want to know, and we want to enforce it in our communities. On top of that, we just need, in general, police familiarity. Who is actually policing us? Who's on the beat in our neighborhoods? We need to meet these police officers. I don't think there should be any reason why we shouldn't have a stronger Black police presence in the community. And if we're being honest, that's not to excuse Black officers either, because many of you are also terrorists to our own brothers and sisters. But what we can do is, it feels more comfortable to be stopped and to have a Black officer coming up on the side than to see white officers coming up. At the very least, we've heard the excuse that we can't supply only Black officers for Black neighborhoods. At the very least, when they are paired, one of them can be Black. If you want to have a non-Black officer, he can at least be paired with a Black man. We need a stronger Black presence. We need to respect these police officers. The reason why they attack us is, if we're being honest, they don't respect us. So we want to give, if you want a reason for us to respect you, give us a reason to respect you. And outside of that, outside of police familiarity, outside of them also working on how they restrain us, every single protester, every single curfew breaker needs to be released. This can happen at the discretion of the police, and that's what we're calling on. You don't have to charge them. You don't have to put them through a process, which is especially slowed down because of coronavirus, because of everything that's going on. You can let these young Black boys and Black girls go because they're fighting for a cause. And that cause is the reason why we're here. I'm so grateful. Again, go to your local police departments with actionable steps, things that we can see before 2020. These conversations, not only can they happen, but we can make sure that they're done before the year is out. Thank you so much. Ashe.
I like that word, actionable. Actionable steps. That was a big word for me, y'all. Actionable steps. Aren't y'all excited about our young people? The village is alive, y'all. Come on now, we're gonna bring up a fire brother in our community. Brother Cam Howard, he's gonna introduce himself and he's gonna tell us some things that we need to know. Ashe?
Hotep family. It's a pleasure, it's a pleasure. I want to stand in solidarity with every one of the organizers of this event. But before I share my few comments, I would like for everyone to just have a moment of silence for the transitioning of our Baba, Dr. Conrad Worrell. Ashe. I was asked by someone a couple of days ago when they heard that Dr. Conrad Worrell had transitioned and they didn't know who he was. They asked me, well, can you just name 3 things that he did? So it was really quick and easy. You know, I said, well, you know, in the 1980s, he organized with the Black United Front and took 1 million signatures to Geneva and charged this country with genocide. That's big. Not in the age of, as we say, not in the age of social media, as we know that it was done before by Assistant Queen Mother Moore, but to do it again in the 1980s, and we've been declaring since we've been here that this country's relationship to us has been one of genocide. Yes. So it wasn't new, but to put our position on the world stage at that time was important and it was powerful. So the second thing I said, well, you know, everybody heard of Mayor Harold Washington. He was one of the key strategists for the election of Mayor Harold Washington, which was another historic event in the city where the Irish had ran this city for 100+ years, and the Irish has been a key opponent to African progress in this country. Most people don't know that we all say that the police came from the Paddy Patrol during the enslavement period. Well, they were trying to put down the African revolutions that were happening all over the Americas, North America, South America, Central America, and in the Caribbean. And so they created in the 1600s and early 1700s this concept of pan-whiteness. And this pan-whiteness, they had to bring the Irish in to being white because the Irish wasn't white. The Irish was niggers. They were enslaved. It was later when they reserved the word nigger just for us, but Irish were included. So they had to bring the Irish into the fold of being white, and they made them the overseers, and they made them the patty rollers. If you watch the movie Roots, when you see the white boy who whooped Kente Kente, you'll hear his Irish accent. When you look at 12 Years a Slave, the white boy who was trying to whoop Solomon, who he took the whip from, was an Irishman. When you look at Django, when you saw the white boy who was bringing all the Africans to the port to be traded, was an Irishman. They tell the truth, and we don't even know the truth. And the police force in this country grew out of the Paddy Patrollers, out of the Irish inclusion into whiteness. And today, when you see the police all over this country, they have an Irish presence all over the country today. Look at I was watching the news yesterday, and the chief of police of New York, name was Hanrahan. All right? And nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. And so the psychology of the police, whether you're black or white, the psychology of policing in this country, in America, has its origin in enslavement. And the psychology has not changed. The third thing they asked me what the Dr. Worrell did, I said, well, he organized over 400 people, and they went to Durban, South Africa in 2001 at the World Conference Against Racism. And it was there where we lobbied the heads of states of 193 countries to have proclaimed that the transatlantic slave trade, slavery, and colonialism were crimes against humanity. And crimes against humanity has no statute of limitations. So if it happened 400 years ago, and the perpetrators are still in existence today, the perpetrators being the United States of America, or the United Kingdom, or the Republic of France or Germany, if they're still in existence today, they're still guilty today. Crimes against humanity are the most egregious crimes that a government can commit against a civilian population. There are corporations that were in existence 200-300 years ago that are in existence today. They're still guilty under the international law. I spent the last 15 years of my life and tens of thousands of dollars. The Creator has blessed me to earn a living that I can take care of myself and my children and have a little bit more that I can give to our community. And I spent tens of thousands of my dollars in 15 years fighting for the cause of reparations, for these people to redress in the form of monetary and programmatic issues that we can repair ourselves as a people. Not asking them to repair us. We know we need tremendous amount of resources to do the type of repair we need in our community. I want to stop for just a second and thank the hell out of these young brothers and sisters who have been rebelling over these last 3 or 4 days. Thank you, thank you, thank you. As I spent this money and spent these years, and I'm with an organization in Cobra, we have about 2,000 members, and Cobra's been in existence for 30 years, 32 years, and we've been fighting this issue of reparations, but we got the attention of the legislators in this country, the federal legislators, the state legislators, and the city legislators because of the rebellion of our young brothers and sisters over the last 3 or 4 days. We thank you. Today we were today myself and Cecile and a elder white man by the name of Jack McNamara, we testified before the Health and Human Relations Committee today to have a reparations commission passed in the city of Chicago. There are 17 members, aldermen on the Health and Human Relations Committee. About 15 were present. 12 of them spoke, white, black, and Hispanic, fiery on this issue of reparations, in agreement that this city must come to the terms to redress the crimes committed against our people by this city. They're in support of it. And again, we owe these young brothers and sisters, these rebellious black men and young black people, we owe them a debt of gratitude. We talk about all the destruction they've done in our community. Yeah, they did some destruction, and we're gonna have to deal with that. It might take us years to deal with that. But they moved the needle to the repair of our peoplehood far closer than we have done in the years that we have been organizing. And we know where thanks are due. And if you hear me say it over and over again, I love and thank our young people. Our rebellious young people, because that's the spirit that I come from. The spirit of revolution, the spirit of rebellion, the spirit of resistance, the spirit of insurgency. And that's what was presented to America over the last week by our people. We got a lot of work to do. The vote is tomorrow. We understand that there was some maneuvering. When you have a committee meeting, you have a vote right afterwards. Why they delay the vote for an whole day? We understand that there's some shenanigans going on, but we have to continue to fight. We got to continue to struggle. This is only the first stage. I want everybody else to stand with us, call your aldermen, and make sure that they're voting yes for a reparations commission in the city of Chicago. Thank you. That's an actionable step. If anybody don't have a flag for their car, let me know and I'll give you one.
Thank you, Prophet. Thank you.
Look, y'all, I thought he had brought some flowers for all the big mamas. I said, oh, he got flowers for the big mamas. But he got something even better. He's got the flag. He's got our flag for us. Y'all all right out there? Y'all all right? You're not fading away, are you? Yeah, go on and give somebody a long social distancing hug right quick. Get up and take a little stretch. Seriously, get up and take a little stretch break. We almost through our program, but this is important, you all. This is for us. And we don't have to rush when it's for us. And while you're standing, I want to just, I'm not sure if we've done it yet, but I definitely want to make sure we know Sister Cecile Johnson. She's a human rights defender. I've never met a human rights defender until now, a few years ago. So Sister Cecile, Brother Cam, Dr. Gail, and many, many others are fighting on so many levels for our people. And this is for the village. And we want you to know, young people, and all people out there, that we are reclaiming our village. This is not just talk. We are doing actionable steps. We are taking actionable steps. And woe unto you if you don't call your alderman and say, vote for, what is it? Reparations. All right. Thank you, Cecile, for all you're doing. And she did help put this together. She wrote the press release and all those things. So let's applaud all the big mamas out here, y'all. I know Big Mama don't look like she used to look, but we still big mamas. Come on, sister, yeah.
All praise to the Most High, that who has, or what has created the Son, created all of you all. So all your religions don't add up to spirituality of that which created the Son. Religion can divide us. The sun and the planet puts us together. My name is Sister Ya. I'm your favorite community epidemiologist. I come here in peace and love, but I'm here to bring you the health and wellness piece of our program, if you will. The health and wellness is we sick. It ain't just COVID. That pandemic is real. It isn't just the violence. That pandemic is real. It is the pandemic of racism that we have not begun to solve. And in my line of business as an epidemiologist, for the community is to tell you where we are health-wise. Y'all, we is sick. And we sick and tired of being sick and tired. In order to get past the sickness that is in our communities, we're going to have to do some level approaches. What the sister said, actionable steps. Well, there's 3 level approaches in my world. When you treat something like a disease, you got to know what you're dealing with. So I have to first talk about who are the people who have the disease, the dis-ease. And that is us as black people. The dis-ease of racism has made you so sick that even when you get COVID, unlike the white people who get hit first, black people get hit harder. When we get hit hard, it's because our underlying health conditions are not in the same position as theirs. When you hear Dr. Anthony Fauci speak, from which I have actually met before, I respect science. I am a scientist to my heart. But see, we have a different color eyes. Mine's are brown, his are blue. We look at the life differently. Now, we both come to the same science understanding, but our interpretations are different. You know why? He says you need to maintain your immune system. You need to make sure it stays where it's at. And I'm listening to him like, is he crazy? Not that his science is wrong, his interpretation is wrong. We as black people need to build up our immune system. It ain't maintaining it, it's wrong already. Our immune systems are already corrupt. They're already downtrodden. They're already put away because of the stress of racism. See, they don't look at that as a social determinant. I know I'm speaking to some of the professionals out here right now. Social determinants of health means what did the social instruct on your body have? That means from where you went to school to who your mama is. Everything has an impact on your individual body. So the first thing you do with a disease model is you look at the individual body. And right now, our individual bodies are not at the point it could be. We could be so much better. The next step for a disease is you look at the society or the community for which it's impacting. And for us, yes, COVID is impacting the world. That's why it's called pandemic and not epidemic. If it would have stayed just in China, it would have been an epidemic. SARS, version 1, by the way, because COVID is SARS, if you all didn't know. It's a severe acute respiratory disease. This is version 2. Version 1 only stayed in China, and then MERS only stayed in Mid-East. So you never heard about it. Now you over here talking about what's COVID. COVID is actually the coronavirus, if you will. We just shortened it for COVID-19 because it was 2019 before this country had cases. Coronavirus is not new. Coronavirus has been around you all your lives. If you look on your Lysol cans, go home and look at your Lysol cans. You're going to see coronavirus because it is a type of disease which infects your respiratory system. But this is SARS version 2. Why is it version 2? Because it's a new strand. This strand has never been seen on the planet Earth the way humans are now understanding it, which is why there is no immunity to it. That's a falsity if they told you one. So the bottom line is we got the individual, we got the society, and then the next step is you got to look globally. That's how we solve diseases. I want you all to know that as my mentor is here, Dr. Gail Frazier, and also on NBAC, the National Black Agenda Consortium, I work on the health and wellness piece. And my charge to you all is a new word if you haven't heard it. That is health equity. Say health equity. Health equity means that I don't want to be equally sick to white folks. I'm trying to be the best health that I can. And the only way you can get the best health you can is if you have a healthcare system that is about you getting better and living longer. Now, that system is not helping black people to live longer. So my charge is we're going to dismantle the system. Now, that's a hard thing for me to say as a scientist. But if it ain't working for you, you got to get rid of it. It ain't working for us, y'all. So health equity, then the next step for us as an actionable step is start charging this state, this country with making our health a priority, and we're not using the system that they have now, this insurance system that don't work. We need to use a universal system that is going to give us outcome measures where our life expectancy is not just equal to theirs, but is better. Health equity. Thank y'all. Your favorite community epidemiologist, Sister Ya, and we'll be more on the National Black Agenda. Thank you. Oh, and by the way, my organization is called TACS, the Association of Clinical Trial Service. I am the only black woman in this state that has their own non-for-profit organization that can talk about clinical trials research. I sit on so many boards for clinical trials, and if you never know what that is, holla at your girl. This is myself, Sister Ya with TACS, National Black Agenda, and I'm here in solidarity with ABJ and all the other organizations, Brother Cam, and everybody else that's out here in solidarity, red, black, and green all day long. Marcus Garvey, Ashe.
Woo, she can't be the only one, y'all. We're going to have to do some succession planning. We got to get some other ones trained up because I'm not interested in science. I'm going to just tell you that now. But we got to have some other young people that's interested. Now, see, I said I had never met a human rights defender, and I certainly had never met an epidemiologist. I like seeing all y'all teaching me some big words tonight. Don't y'all see that we love y'all in the village? I hope you all are enjoying this in Facebook land because this is all about us. And yes, we can take a couple of hours out of our schedules for us. Now we're going to bring, and we're winding down. We're going to have a special surprise for you in a few minutes. It's nothing grand, but it's a special surprise. Right now, though, we're going to bring up the founder of the Temple of Mercy Association. He's going to come in and talk a little bit more about our wellness, but he's also the president of the Black United Progress Association that was founded by Dr. Webb Evans. How you say it? The black dollar? The Black Dollar Man. So he said he got me. So let's give it up in a big ashe for Minister Rahim Atan.
Y'all repeat after me. Black power.
Black power.
Black power.
Black power.
Black power.
Black power.
That's the power to define, the power to develop, and the power to defend that which is in the best interest of black people. We have to begin to define for ourselves what's best for us. In the name of the everlasting Father, he that causes all that exists to exist, he that is self-existent, he who directs the sunships of millions of years, he who made time the seat of the universe, known by so many names, but yet I bear witness that all of those names refer to the same one, Almighty God, and it is to him whom I give reverence and to whom I submit. I boldly proclaim that we are the children of those black men and women who survived the transatlantic slave trade, and that we are that lost 13 tribe born here in North America, and we are of a Nubian Kemetic lineage. I further proclaim that the blood of all the nations of the world flow through our veins. I greet you all in the ancient but yet holy words of peace in the languages of our fathers, of Hotep, Shalom, Assalamu alaikum, Habargani, Malafia, and Ashe. All right. Well, I am Brother Minister Raheem said she just introduced me, but I'm also known professionally as a musician. I'm called the Sax Preacher. You can kind of Google me. And I'm just here to talk a little bit about health and wealth, more so about us being scientists in the laboratories of our own lives, instead of letting someone else be scientists on us. They say there's no known treatment for this coronavirus. They say they don't know anything as far as not only just treating it, but how to cure it. So that means if you go to the hospital, you don't know the difference in the lab coats, whether that person that's over you is a scientist or a doctor. So if they don't know what the treatment is or the cure, then why should you have to be there? There are some things, though, that you can do called prevention, which is now you got to build up your immune system. I wanted to read something that I got from the Holy Quran, and I read both Holy Quran and Holy Bible. It says, if evil and disbelief exist in the world, we must not be impatient or lose faith. We must recognize that if such things are permitted, they are part of the universal plan and purpose of God, who is all wise, all good, all knowing, but whose wisdom and goodness we cannot fully fathom. Well, they say the virus is man-made. Well, there have been many times in the scriptures where God did things through people. And so even though it's man-made, it's still of God. And all of what you see happening is a universal plan and a universal process. But it's up to you, black man and woman, to see which world and which order and which kingdom will exist after it's all over. Will it be the kingdom of God, or will it be the kingdom of the devil? It's up to you. We are the men and women of God. The black man and woman is God. The Bible says, ye are gods, all of you, but children of the Most High God. What does that mean? We should eat the food of a God. We should have the diet of a God. And he said in his book that he gave us the herbs and the fruits and the vegetables as meat. As meat. We begged God for meat, and he said, go on and eat it, now it's killing us. Our lifespan is real short. We begged God for a king when we didn't have a king. And you see what happens when you get somebody in office who think they the king. Right? So I'm saying that what we got to do, okay, I'm going to read this quickly because